wholesale price of vegetables and fruit today. Kathmandu's Kalimati Fruit and Vegetable Market Development Committee has determined the current wholesale prices of agricultural products. On the committee's statement, there is a maximum wholesale price of vegetables and fruits that has been fixed at Rs 70 for round lambs in the Nepali crop, Rs 95 for rounds in India, as opposed to Rs 30 for each round lamb local seed. The cocoa is a crucial element in the mattress, and it can be applied to any other factors such as cash value, credit value or capital. Sugarcane, cattle, scutes, risak, palango, chansea, mithai, green onions, chow, curillo, and nigo are all being determined. According to the project's estimates, the cost of items such as broccoli Rs 70 for chunky and Rs 170 for live animals, red bandu reduced 80, jellyfish red velvet, gakegovi blue 70, salt, suf, emulsions black or white, copper, tofu white rice, and gandruk rice from red onion will total around Rs 110. The committee has made it clear that the provisions of the agreement shall be applicable to the importation of apples, soybeans, corn syrup, and oats. Length of rice per litre, volume, and weight is Rs 110. Fruit and vegetable prices for fruits and vegetables as per VS. SA 07, 2082.
Ruption, we are sorry to hear that you have passed away before. The Bible declares, the world is teeming with deception. At 6:30 a.m. on the 7th of the month of Asar, 2056, a group of doctors working at Veer Hospital reported the death of one person due to kidney, liver, and other multi-organ systems. Hospital staff kept a daily journal of the news for the deceased, and it was customary to have the bodies laid to rest and the details posted on the walls. She returned to her rhythm. Nature was sad, so she stayed silent and dirty. The sky was darker this day, but it was still darker. She had to go back after hearing the news. The man, who had been sleeping in a slumber in the veranda of Veer Hospital, had lived an anonymous life for many years. Sneha swore Eruption was commonly referred to by the public as such. He identified himself as a popular colleague RP Chandra Jasaru. Rapchandrat Daman Nepal Rudane. He was Mitbleed of the National Panchayat Rapachandra Rapsaru and an independent Rup Esra. Following death, there was a riot. Some family members, acquaintances, admirers, legislators came forward, others spoke out, and everyone went back to their usual tone. Ray's relatives tried to take him to a different hospital for treatment. He stated that they treat him as if he were residing in the community and does not require any special care. He was born on 26 August 1990 in Paliwangardi Kola, Makwinpur. Politicians today frequently choose foreign hospitals to spend their state money on unnecessary medical treatments, claiming that this is a self-interested and revolutionary practice. The current generation that has had such a strong leader is likely to have experienced similar circumstances. He was convinced that I was never better than the people, that my position and level were always above theirs. Before his passing, he had instructed his close friends and relatives not to put flowers, or any other food on his body, do not cause any harm, hold any tribute rallies, not cry when riding a cow, but stay silent while going into the Ariagat. The next day, the pages of the newspapers were adorned with tears on paint. The famous newspapers of that period wrote the story of his departure in letters as much as they could. Several were wounded, others were squeezed, and then things started to turn around. Not one, but many. Ruption was a teacher who was rich, varied, and well-rounded. He was responsible for the Janklian Mavika in Palan, where he composed the school hymn and taught singing to the students. The song was sung in a school environment at Palan School and in many other nearby schools. He instructed many to speak in public without expressing any qualms about it. The parents of the children who did not learn to read in the afternoon urged them to teach it all the boys, saying Mortabad, and organized a campaign to do so. He was an enthusiastic Orientalist philosopher who spent approximately 7 years studying the constellations, planets, and constellation in the Eastern Mirror. He also had a keen interest in naturalism and conducted numerous self-studies on nature. With his great respect for work, he farmed, drove cars, and ran hotels. The discussion was not only about the development of the people but also about that of other people. Shikardari Village Panchayat, when he was the chief minister, introduced the concept of cooperative model development house Pauling Development Committee Pavas. His poetry was not only about enlightenment and impressing, but also about revolution. He was a revolutionary poet who wrote many poems to inspire people's minds. Neither we nor anyone else are concerned with us, as we are only concerned solely with what is right and true, and not anything else. His catchphrase was knowing the practice of neutral activism, and he added that I am your shoes on feet, while also proclaiming himself to be always a supporter and public servant. In 2038 and 2043, he was elected to the National Panchayat from Makwanpur in his first election and later became a member of the Indian National Congress. It's possible that his birth, along with being the only leader in Nepal to sell leaflets and pay for the election, made him a unique candidate. After having a public speaking engagement and reading the poetry, it appears that he was actually essentially an incompetent member of parliament. A rebel for life, he rebelled against his own family and self-response, repeatedly rejecting the minister's offer. A minister's story may seem like a legendary one, as they were born and brought up in twilight of the party. On occasion, he became a legend due to his physical stature, height, and mouth size, which made him an extraordinary person who is often regarded as both mysterious and wonderful. What is the meaning behind your likeness to clay, you to a clay pot, and you back off, like confined in solitary confinement, without mattering for the earth? Although the poem is 51 letters long, it has a significant impact. When I saw Devathasu go to 11 temples, I was taken by surprise as I felt that the vision of Yin and his message to the Sinho people was not nearly as profound as their own understanding of sin. According to the Bible, I suffered for a lifetime. He remarked that the system was cruel and multi-party, which was accurate, but we had a flawed understanding of it. Ha ha ha, so let's fly. Despite being imprisoned for 6 months in the National Panchayats, he continued to speak out against the Panchayats, casting a rock-solid opposition on those who were not affiliated with the group. Punjabi people were subjected to such severe oppression that their language became so merciless. Despite the multi-party movement, persecution persisted against him. All other parties had organized power. There were organizations of youth, students, farmers, workers, but they were alone. Some of their colleagues left immediately. We have been grieving for him since we Makwanpur arrived many years ago. He was referred to as a Saki, Muti, Magas, Pala, and even swarmed by invasive plants. He remarked that the majority's conscience is less violent, and now it seems like we are less guilty. We made them stronger than our own, but they were people favored, unexplored, undisclosed by us, and we never saw them. The second is missing. During the time of Rupchand's death, I was studying for my BSc degree at the Institute of Forestry Studies, Pokhara. Evaluation is a conceptual monthly magazine that I read in an academic setting. During his search for the rebel philosopher Rupchandra Bisht, who was known to the enemy and unknown to friends, Jamshesta, the editor of Evaluation Monthly, discovered some new information about his past state that was a shock to both mind and brain. He had a lifelong grievance about his own people, the ones he battled for their drunkenness and their own existence, who loved their wealth. He attempted to rouse this class, but it failed to recognize its rights and obligations. He woke up and joined another class. His lack of awakening left him feeling deeply disheartened about what life was like without them. As I sat in the hostel on campus, I read this evaluation issue repeatedly and was left feeling shaken inside. It also gave me bad breath, bad breathing, and a bad conscience. As I contemplated, is it a matter of fate or self-defense to openly oppose Yin in the 2048 election? Kisanji's response left me wondering, but then again, we were slightly more foolish than before. We supported a progressive candidate in our vote, but we took more extreme measures by criticizing them, celebrating their progress, discussing the lessons learned, talking about what was not necessary, and I don't feel any responsibility except my conscience. We sat in silence for many years, watching and suffering, until finally we found out that for a parliamentary election, we lost in time arguably the philosopher of our times, the precious diamond of this rare coincidence in history, his rightful position in parliament, as well as his vision. He said, "You know the truth. You know not confusion. You know your rights and your duties." A great warrior, who had been compelled to die for the purpose of changing the Singo people, was stirred up by a wave of anger in Durdaraj. As I look around, I see leaders from every corner of the village. Who would these people be? What would they say to them if they were still alive? Who will go to the villages and raise the mob? Will they wake up and speak the trumpet of rebellion? Would they stand up for the people who are going to do what they want? The Bible states, water is present everywhere on the whole earth. Ashar 7th is coming up. It's a day to remember those Ruchans, to sing them praises even though they are forced. I am perplexed. I am perplexed. I have been searching for him, reading his books, articles, etc. But I still want to know if he can truly be popular and take pride in the political views of the people, which is what I believe will be right on my person. Every day in Durdaraj village, Chephen, Tamang and Tharu village I see the pits of the poor people, The MPs who are as corrupt and uncaring as their leaders, and those same people who deny anti-people activities. As I look at the leaders' big bosses, large cars and houses in my memory, I remember fondly the Rupen, the little scooters in the everyday life. Despite your expectations, the class of survivors didn't get any better than that, and we're picking up where you left off. I truly miss you, and it's a shame that I can't express how much. The Lord is the God of the field, as stated in the Bible.
Nepali citizenship cannot be granted to foreign nationals, as per Chairman Dulad Sherpadur Duar, the former Prime Minister and current Nepali Congress Chairman, has stated that individuals who have taken over foreign citizenship cannot be granted Nepalese citizenship. British white soldiers made it clear during a speech about the Suboi Treaty and the release of the citizenship book in Nepal that while it is natural for them to demand continuation of Nepalese citizenship, they cannot be granted Nepalese citizenship after becoming citizens of another country. It was mentioned that the white British soldiers' citizenship can be transferred to NRN for other reasons. Chairman Duar emphasized that Nepal's demands are unambiguous when it comes to providing services to British troops. He added, "We demand that British whites should serve as British soldiers, but they do not accept. It is natural to continue to demand citizenship. We cannot give citizenship to those who have taken citizenship." Chairman Duar expressed his pride in the white soldiers' history, stating that British white troops are an important symbol of Nepal's identity to the world.
Demanding the Home Minister's dismissal, Rappa appealed to the government and the Prime Minister called for appointing the new leader. Kathmandu's National Democratic Party MP, Roshan Karki, has demanded a high-level investigation into the visit visa issue. She spoke at the House of Representatives meeting and expressed concern that the government is not cognizant of the issue, despite speaking for the people. Nepalese soldiers in the Russian and Ukrainian armies who had entered Nepal also arrived on visiting visas, she said. The Home Minister accused her of being involved in this incident and demanded that the government sack her if she wants to maintain good governance. The MP expressed their desire to sell the country for profit and stated that a high-level committee would be established to investigate the visa issue during visits, while also stating that there were ethical reasons for Home Minister Ramesh Attikar's resignation.
The state expressed dissatisfaction with Silk Shohari's refusal to acknowledge Tharu as Nepali when she refused to accept him. Nepali Citizen Liberation Party patron Resham Shohari has expressed his disapproval of Tharu in Kathmandu, stating that the state does not like him. "I was not incarcerated in a Delhi market, but I was imprisoned for the identity of the thief again to erase his identity," he said. At the largest cultural event in Kathmandu, Sustak Shohari spoke about his experience as a culture person and stated that it wasn't political. She was forced to do so. Despite the loss of thousands of Tharu youth in the Tekapur incident, which resulted in hundreds of motorcycles and bicycles being burned without any public voice, the state was unable to comment on the injustice against them. According to him, he claimed to have questioned the state's imprisonment in Tekapur incident through song, even though he was not implicated and spoke from prison.